Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about 5 AppExchange Security Review Tools, which every ISV should know. Joining me is Harting. Harting is a founding member of Concretio and is a seasoned Salesforce architect. Harting, why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Harting Harris, and I'm in Salesforce ecosystem from last 13 plus years. And I have worked upon many AppExchange app development and help customers to list their application on AppExchange as well.
Perfect. So for the sake of this discussion, I think we'll cover a few key tools. Harting, can you list them out quickly, like which we are going to cover?
Sure. So for Salesforce security review process, there are few scan reports which you need to submit, and we have 5 tools which we can use. One is the Checkmarx provided by Salesforce Code Analyzer, which is also provided by Salesforce. Then we have OWASP ZAP and the Burp Suite, and the last one is a Chimera.
Okay. So ISVs and anybody who's listening will take a deep dive on each of these tools. We'll see which one fits in which situation, and let's keep moving. So the first tool we're going to talk about is Checkmarx. This is a very popular one. So Harting, where do you see this fitting into the whole picture?
Okay, so if your AppExchange app solution has any code in it, then you must provide checkmarks scan reports. This is must in that case. And
Okay.
this is
And by
basically,
that you mean native apps, right?
yes, Salesforce native code, which
So
includes like
any
Apex, VF, LWC components, and triggers.
okay. So in native apps, this is a must, and by must you mean like this is required for Salesforce security review submission. This the scan report. Right? Probably this is the oldest one, right? Since we are into the AppExchange ecosystem, maybe 8 years, 10 years old, and this is
Yeah,
the classic tool.
right. This is the oldest tool for security review process, and as we said, it's old. It's also a matured one as well.
Okay, okay. How do we use it? Like typically we used to go on partner security portal. Is it same or is it changed?
Yeah, it's the same. So we have 2 ways of doing it. Like one through the partner portal, which allows an ISV to scan your application. And for normal customers, Salesforce customers, if they have their own solution and they want to validate the security, they can also submit their solution or their code for that. So we have 2 ways.
Okay, perfect. So for ISVs here, let's say they want to go to partner security review portal. What I remember is they just need to probably submit their orgs user ID, right? And
Right.
anything else?
No, so you just need to provide your Aux username, and you can select the level of security. Like you want to just check the security or just normal validation. So you can select those options and it can get scanned.
Okay, okay, perfect. Yeah, it's not user ID. You just put the username and it gets
Yes.
going. So let's say in typical development environment, like we use CI/CD, we use command line. So does this tool support CI/CD and command line?
As of now, no, it doesn't support the CI/CD compatibility as it need to be run from the portal or from the online. It's a manual process, so no, it doesn't support the CI/CD.
Okay. Any way we can buy licenses like for by paying extra because Salesforce is giving online hosted version, which is
Right.
not
So that's a
CI/CD.
right. So the checkmarks is basically free for Salesforce ISV providers and the customers with some limits of number of lines scanned. But if you want to go beyond and you make use of the CI/CD, you can definitely go with paid versions of the checkmarks.
Okay. So for ISVs, if you want to take a license, the licenses are available that you can integrate into your CLI, whatever CI/CD you are using, GitHub Actions, Bitbucket, or GitLab, that should help you there. But probably that is not needed. We'll see more on that why. So let's keep moving. Anything else on check marks which you want to add, Hart, before we go to the next?
No, I think we have covered it pretty well. The only thing is, as mentioned, like it's used to check the vulnerability of your solutions, but it doesn't guarantee that it checks all of the occurrences. And none of the tool can guarantee that, right? Because there may be some areas where it can't go and report. So that's the point we should take care. And whenever we get the report, we should scan all the occurrences in the code and do manual review as well, for sure.
Okay. So the point you're trying to make is that it stops at the first occurrence. Let's say there are SQL injection issues. So there might be 50 issues, but it will stop for first one. So one has to make sure they also check the similar occurrences.
Yeah, it can stop on one, or maybe it can scan like two, three occurrences, but can stop anywhere.
Okay, okay. One thing I forgot to ask, what are the limitations from Salesforce side? Can we use it any number of times? How many scans to get and any other limitation?
Because it's free, but has to like be in some guidelines. So for the ISV providers, there's a limit of 2 million line of codes, and for the customers, there is like 360,000 line of code scan.
Okay. Any limit or number of scans or per package version or anything with support?
Yeah, so there is a limit of 3 scans per review. So as an ISV provider, you can make your package version review 3 times.
All right. Okay. So let's keep moving. So next we are going to talk about Code Analyzer, and probably this is the tool which is coming directly from Salesforce. What is your take on Code Analyzer, Art?
Okay, so the code analyzer is, I think, introduced 2, 3 years back, and this is a bit more powerful and more detailed and vast code scanner. Why I'm saying these words? Because you have the permission to do configuration here. You can control it, like what type of checks you want to do and like what you want to ignore. This is also used for your Salesforce native code scanning, which includes VF, Apex, JS, and LWCs. In here also, like this works upon a PMD framework, so you can define your own rules. And Salesforce also provided their own security rules, so you can make use of them and scan. The good thing is there is no limit. You can run it as many times you want.
This is coming as a CLI, right? You install it locally and feel free to use. It's like
Right,
PMD sort of things.
right. So it's a command line tool, and you need to install it just like you install the Salesforce CLI. And there are plugins for VS Code as well. You can use that as well.
And I think good part about this thing is ESLint, JavaScript, PMD, Retire.js, and Salesforce Graph, and then many other things are part of this whole thing. So one gets a lot of other things for their LWC code and other things in single.
Right. So this is not only for scanning your code for security or vulnerability checks, it can be used for making sure you have a good quality code. So you can define your own standards as well, like the code complexity and everything.
Okay, yeah, fair point. So it's beyond security, it's code quality scanner as well because there's PMD and many other similar tools.
Right,
And as it's a CLI, it should be CI/CD compatible also. You can probably plug into any tool of your choice, right?
right, that's correct.
Okay. So if you talk about the security review submission, is it must first of all to submit the reports of code analyzer? Just like Checkmarx is a must.
Right. So nowadays this is compulsory. So if you have a solution which is having Salesforce native code implementation, then this report is also needed. So there are
Okay, so they
three,
ask for code analyzer report also.
right. And there are
Okay,
three type of scans, like one for the Salesforce security scans, and another is the DFA, and the third one is basically the PMD checks. So PMD Salesforce scans.
okay. So I think this is a good tool. You can let your developers install it in your VS Code or whatever ID they're using. It's CLI and has an option to plug with popular IDs. And again, as it's CLI, there is no need to host it on Partner Security Review portal. And you can lastly, just to recap, scan AppExchange LWC, TypeScript, and Visual Force code. So it is a free thing. Use it, abuse it. I think it's for good. Let's keep moving. Next is ZAP scan. So where does ZAP scan fits?
All right. So the tools we have talked about are basically for Salesforce native implementations. But let's say you
Mm-hmm.
have an integration with the third-party system, let's say the Stripe or your own server. So as Salesforce is strict about the security and the vulnerability checks, you must need to provide the vulnerability check reports of your API integrations as well. And the Z attack proxy, one of the tool which can help you scan the APIs and give it to the Salesforce.
Okay. So to summarize it, I can say it's mainly for API integration, especially external endpoints, and the ones which you don't control or own, like you're, let's say, integrating with OpenWeather or Google or Azure APIs. Okay. And results are valid. The results of the scan are accepted in submission, right?
Right. So this tool is very popular and very known, and it do a good job in terms of checking the vulnerability of the web app or the APIs. So this is definitely acceptable in Salesforce security review process.
Okay. And how do we get it? Like our Checkmarx is partner portal based. The scanner is CLI. Where does this guy go?
So this tool is free. It's open source. Like there is no tie-up with ZAP attack proxy with Salesforce. So this is free of cost, and yes, it's CLI, not the CLI. Like you have to install the application on your machine, and from there you can scan the APIs.
Okay. So probably this must be coming as a desktop app or a browser extension. Okay. Okay. And does it works well with CI/CD then? Like an even QA testing tool like
Right. So it has a compatibility with the Selenium. So yes, definitely it can be CID CD compatible, and the QA for sure can use it for automated testing as well.
Perfect, perfect. So just a quick recap, everyone, for ZAttack proxy. It's a free tool, open source. You have to install it on your browser or desktop machine or laptop, whatever you're using. It works with CI/CD as it's a local installable thing. It's not hosted on Partner Security Review portal. The results are valuable and accepted in submissions. And to go over the usage-wise, any external API endpoints that you don't own, you can use this scanner for this. So just to recap all three tools, first one, Checkmarx, is provided by Salesforce. It's free if you want to, or otherwise it's paid if you want to go beyond the limits. You have to buy the license. Code Analyzer is CLI, use it, abuse it as you want, and the number of times it's running on your local machine. And ZAttack proxy is again free. You can install it, scan it as many number of times, and use it with CI/CD. Anything I missed, Harting, in the recap so far?
No, I think that's
Okay. So let's talk about the fourth one. We have talked about three tools. The fourth one is Burp Suite. Where does Burp Suite fits in?
okay. So again, this is also for the external API scans, and it's similar to the ZAP scanner. The difference is Bob Suite has like different type of licenses. Like the free version doesn't have the good capabilities of web app vulnerability checks, but the paid versions are definitely the good one, and we can make use of Bob Suite as well.
So it's
So
like
some
Checkmarx. Some part is free and then paid if you want to go beyond.
right, but the thing is, it doesn't have tie up with Salesforce.
Okay. Okay. It's recommended that you try, but there's no official partner portal hosting or anything where you can access it. By the way, how do you install it? Like, is it like again installable?
Yes, it's an installable app,
No.
and like if we compare the free version of OWASP ZAP and the Burp Suite, then definitely the ZAP scanner is better because it has a lot of web app vulnerability checks in it in a free version. But if we compare the Burp Suite, if you want to have a good web app vulnerability checks, you need to go with the paid versions. So it's again your choice.
Okay. So it's comparing Zap free with Burp free. You're saying Zap free is much better. It gets a lot of job done.
Right.
And I think it is for majority of the cases, you should be good with Zap only, right? You don't need Burp as such. And if we have an extraordinary complex API integration where the API endpoints itself are too heavy and there's a lot going on there, maybe then you might think of going to Burp. Is it correct as a statement? Okay, okay. So result wise, can we submit Burp results for the security review?
Yes, it's acceptable, but I guess because the free version doesn't do a good job in vulnerability checks for the web apps, the APIs, so it may be a concern. So I think yeah, the paid version for sure, like the paid apps security scan reports, surely be acceptable by Salesforce.
Okay, okay. And lastly, I think we already quoted that Salesforce is not providing any Burp license. And point beyond it is, which we are talking about, each tool is CI/CD. So probably this is not CI/CD compatible.
Yeah, it doesn't have, but I think in the paid versions it may have it.
Okay, so the paid version probably supports CLI and CI/CD.
Yes.
Okay, so from first two tools, we are talking about native apps like the Code Analyzer and Checkmarx. They are for Apex, LWC, VF, and those native code. The third and fourth tools, Zap and Burp, they are mainly for API endpoints. So I hope this distinction is very clear to everyone which one fits where. Anything we missed, Harting, before we move to the fifth one?
I think no.
All right. So the next one is Chimera or Chimera. I think you pronounce it Chimera, right?
Yes.
Okay, where is Chimera fitting in the whole thing?
Right. So Chimera is also scans the external systems for the security. The thing is, ZAP reports and the Burp reports are good for scanning the systems which are not owned by you. Like, for example, the you're having the payment integration with the Stripe, so there you can get the reports for from the ZAP or Burp. But let's say you have
Mm-hmm.
your own server maintaining the data and your Salesforce is interacting with that server. So in that
Mm-hmm.
case, you must need to specify the Chimera scan reports.
Okay. So the major distinction is if you own the endpoint, API endpoint specifically, then Chimera is the tool you have to use. What is the costing for this
So this is also like open source and free, and it has a tie-up with the Salesforce. So yeah, it's free.
one? Okay. And if there's a tab, then results must be accepted with submission. You can submit the results.
Yes, surely.
Okay. And Chimera, how do you access? You have to install or you go to partner portal?
So like for Chimera, you need to go with the partner portal, and from there you can initiate the process for scanning the server.
Okay. And any other detail which you want to put about scanning?
Yeah, so the scans are performed from a Salesforce IP address, and for that it needs some authentication provided. So you need to create a token from your server and add it into the Salesforce portal. So that's why I think you need to own the server to
Okay.
have it
Oh,
scanned.
perfect. And what about the thing which we are checking for every tool, CI/CD? Does it works with that?
No, as it's initiated from the portal and it's a manual process, so no.
Okay, perfect. Anything we missed so far?
I think no, that was like a brief about all of these tools and where they fit.
Perfect, perfect. So if we just try to do a quick summary, we talked about 5 tools. The first 2 tools, Checkmarx and Code Analyzer. They are highly centric on your native code, Apex, LWC, Visual Force. You scan the quality and security risks using them. Code Analyzer is typically very good for frequent scans because you don't get paid. Checkmarks is available in limited capacity. CI/CD integration is amazing with Code Analyzer because it's available. What else? Yeah, Checkmarks is mostly limited to FX, LWC, and VF, but Code Analyzer goes into JavaScript and TypeScript. If you want a more quality based thing as Harting quoted, and Code Analyzer is compatible with many IDs also. Checkmarks reports are compulsory in security review submissions, and as Harting quoted, you can also submit Code Analyzer reports. They are accepted in security review submissions as well. What are your takeaways, Harting, from this whole session?
So like I would say what I use. So I use the code analyzer for each release or each deliverable. So every time we deliver something or we make a feature done, we definitely run the code analyzer reports because the checkmarks scanners like have some limits. So we need to respect that. And before that, if we can scan, fix some issues, then we should do it. So that's why I prefer to go with the code analyzer as many times we can do and fix the issues. So whenever we go to the checkmarks, we have only the limited issues or none of the issues reported. And
Okay, so
if we
if you
have
do,
any issue, yeah, if we have
mhm.
any issues reported, so most of the time they are like the false positive.
Okay. So if I recap what Harting said is check marks is your last, you can say checkpoint after you have done a like decent sprint of development. Code analyzer is your day-to-day thing. If you're committing, if you are doing pull requests, if you integrate it with CI/CD, probably you will get quality reports sooner than later. And you will not only meet security, but you will also meet code quality guidelines. As Arting said, in the end, when you are releasing, completing a package version, probably at that time you can use the 3 scans per package version to know about any remaining risk after code analyzer, which should be rare. But again, it could be false positive. For those who don't know false positive, it's a false alarm by the security scanning tools that this is a security breach, but it's not a security breach. If we talk about the summary of other 3 types of tool, Chimera, ZAP, and Burp, so how will you summarize that description?
So if I talk about my preferences, I prefer the Chimera wherever we or the client own their endpoints and the servers. We go with the
Mhm.
Chimera because this is must. And what I usually do, like whenever we get to know that hey, the app need to integrate with these servers and these are the endpoints, the first thing I do is scan these reports. Because what if those APIs are having some security risk, whole application will fail. So that must be the first step. Same goes with the Zap and Burp. truly speaking, like I haven't used Burp. I am using Zap from a long time, and the same rule goes here as well. If there is an API indication, as soon as you know, scan the API and make sure the scan is clear.
Okay. So if you want to quickly summarize, if you own the endpoint, go for Chimera. Make sure you use the partner portal and install the tokens as hard set to make sure that your own endpoints comply with Salesforce security. Any external endpoints, Zap will mostly get your job done. You will be happy. You can submit the security review reports from the Zap scan. If you really are an advanced user, which is typically rare, then maybe you can try using Burp paid version, but mostly it's not really needed. And with that being said, I think this is all we have. I think anything we missed, you want to add?
I think, yeah, pretty much we have covered all the tools. We didn't miss anything,
Perfect.
probably.
Perfect. All right. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, ISVs. I hope you pass the security review in one go. And we, as Salesforce video partners, do help ISVs who get stuck in security review. In case you have any inquiries about these tools or the security review process, please visit our website or drop a comment on this video. We'll try to help you to the best of our ability. Thank you, Harting, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.